Hi. In this video we are going to build an interactive callout that will use the workflow we built in the previous video to retrieve and display information from a website. In the previous video, we built a simple workflow that entered a specific zip code into a website, read the time and temperature information from the site, and wrote those values to variables. In this video we will build the callout to display to the agent. We will also need to build a simple event handler that will display the callout when the solution starts. Let's review the goal of this automation. This solution will display a callout to the agent. The agent will enter a United States zip code and click a button. The callout will activate the workflow and will then display the time and temperature values from the site. The workflow we built previously found the time and temperature for a specific zip code. We need to modify the workflow so it can find that information for any zip code. One option would be to create a variable for the zip code. Instead, we will assign our workflow an input parameter. That means that whenever we want to call our workflow, we will have to specify a zip code as its input parameter. Click Workflow Settings. Click Add Parameter. Callout parameter zip code. We need this to be a text parameter, so no need to change its type. Click Save. Select the Enter zip code step. Instead of the value we entered, select the workflow parameter we just created. Finally, add a new step to the workflow to close the browser once done. Call it Close Browser. Drag in the Close tab by title function from the generic HTML browser built-in service. We use the generic HTML browser built-in service for all browsers except for Internet Explorer. To specify which tab to close, type in the title of the website. You can use the star wildcard instead to replace any number of characters. Save the project. We will now build the callout. We will focus on the functional side of the callout. We will not invest a lot of time in its design. Click to create a new callout. Our callout will need a space to enter the zip code and spaces to display the time and temperature. It will also need a button for the agent to click after entering the zip code. To position all these elements neatly, we will add a table. Set the table to have 4 rows and 2 columns. Drag in a label. We will use labels to display text on the screen. Change its contents to zip code. Add in another label. Change its contents to time. Add in another label. Change its contents to temperature. Now we need a space to enter the zip code. Drag in an input field. Rename the input field as in zip. We need to display the retrieved time and temperature values. We can use labels for these too. We will set their contents dynamically later. Name them OutTime and OutTemp. Finally, we need a button for the agent to click. Drag in a button control. Change its contents to Go. To change the title of the callout from the default, select the existing title and replace it. We will use the text time and temp. To preview what our callout will look like, click Preview. Close the preview. Save the project. We now want to specify what will happen when the agent clicks the Go button. Select the button. Click the Control Actions button. We now have an area where we can specify what happens when the button is clicked. We want the workflow to start, so drag the workflow's start method into this area. Note that a single input parameter is required. This is because we specified that the workflow has one input parameter for the zip code. We will populate that parameter with the value property of our input field. The value the agent enters into the input field will be the input to the workflow. Save the project. When a solution is launched, callouts are not displayed automatically. To make the callout display when the solution is loaded, we need to build a simple event handler. Click to add a new event handler. We must populate the when area with the event that will trigger the event handler. We will use the project loaded event from the administration built-in service. Drag that in. In the Do area, we must specify what will happen when the project is loaded. We want the callout to be displayed, so drag in the callouts show method. Save. Start the project. When the project is fully loaded, the callout is displayed as expected. Enter a zip code you know to be valid, for example, 90,210. Click Go. The website is launched, the zip code is entered, and the website is closed, as expected. That might all happen too fast for you to see. You can click Go again to repeat the workflow. Note that the callout is still not displaying temperature and time values. That is what we need to work on next. We now need to display the retrieved time and temperature values in the callout. If we look at the callout, we can see that the value of each of the out time and out temp labels is just a text label. We need to dynamically set those contents. If we open the Assets panel for the callout, we can see that each of those labels has a property called value. We need to set the value of those properties. We will set those values in the workflow. Select the Workflow tab. Select the Capture Time and Text step. So far, this step sets the values of the current time and temperature variables to the values shown on the website. We need to set the values of the callout labels to the values of those variables. Drag in the value properties of the two callout labels. Set the value of the out temp label to the temperature variable. Set the value of the out time label to the current time variable. Save. Start the project. The callout displays. Enter a valid zip code like 90210. Click Go. The time and temperature for that location are shown. Enter another zip code, for example 33162, for Miami, Florida. Click Go. The time and temperature for that location are shown. That completes our basic solution. This solution could be improved in a number of ways. For example, right now when the callout is displayed, the time and temperature fields show the word label, those should be cleared. You could do that by clearing their values in the event handler. Also, our workflow will fail if the user enters an invalid zip code. The workflow could be modified to handle such a case. Thank you for watching.